Hey guys, so man, hey guys, this is Big Baby and Parlay Pete for our Thursday podcast on a Wednesday. What's up, Parlay Pete?
What's going on, big baby? We're doing good over here. Just watching a little ball, Um,
You watching balls?
yeah, some ball. We do have the NBA playoffs coming up here soon, and these games are supposed to mean something, especially when you got money on them. So you know that it's like, well, in the case of the game that's on currently, you got the Knicks and the Nets, and it's like the Knicks are up 10 on the Nets, and it's just like, aren't you guys playing for something? And I know KD already came out and said he didn't give a fuck who they played in the play, which for what it's worth, they're going to be favored against Cleveland, Atlanta, or Charlotte on the road or
Or
at home, wherever
Boston?
they play.
Or Boston?
Nah, well, I'm talking about in the play-in because they're going to be in the play-in. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not enough games left for them to even guarantee themselves a playoff spot. They're going to have to play in the play-in, but they're not even really worried. Which, like I said, if you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I wouldn't be that worried either. But I mean, gosh, go in with a little bit of momentum. Don't start getting beat by the Knicks. You're in Madison Square Garden. One of those guys should be going for 50 tonight.
I mean, shit, KD went for 55 in the highlight factory, career high, and lost.
They didn't play any defense. And the issue, the thing even with something like that is everybody forgets the Hawks can score.
Yeah.
But a team like the Knicks aren't a scoring team. This is not a team that scores a lot of points. And so, that's
the coach
defense.
That's a Tom Thibodeau team. They don't like offense.
Yeah. Well, and
then
this year,
team, huh?
I was gonna say, and then this year, the reason why they're not going to the playoffs like they did last year, they don't play any defense either.
Well, also they have to play with fans, and if nothing, I think COVID showed us that once you bring the fans back in, some guys aren't who we thought they were.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing a pickup game when you don't have the fans around.
Yeah, bro, it was a pickup game with referees.
That's why guys like TJ Warren can get off in the bubble and look like an all NBA player. I mean,
TJ Warren's been hurt since he left the bubble.
I know, and here's the thing: it's not the shit on TJ Warren. He's not a bad player. It's just
he's Tobias Harris.
He's a 17-point guy, that is a starter in the NBA, but that's pretty much his ceiling. He's not. He's not a guy, except for in the bubble, he's not a guy that's going to take over a game.
He's 4 points a quarter.
Yeah, essentially. I'm not looking for TJ Warren to hit the big three at the end of a game if my best player is double team. He's not that guy,
the crazy thing though is that fucking TJ Warren, I just compared him to Tobias Harris. The difference between TJ Warren and Tobias Harris is TJ Warren is paid justly, whereas Tobias Harris is paid like he's a great basketball player, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah, Tobias Harris has probably got to make up one of the 15 highest contracts in the NBA.
Tobias Harris is one of the worst contracts in NBA history. TJ Warren is on a 4-year, $47 million contract. That is what you pay.
That's appropriate.
You know what I mean?
Well, it kind of like I had said, when we talked about this in the group, to me, Tobias Harris is literally Chandler Parsons if he didn't get hurt. Like just a healthy Chandler Parsons. Because remember, Chandler Parsons got a deal like that too. He got like a 3-year, $100 million contract.
Oh, yeah, not bad.
Because, and what it was is I remember when the Hawks were in rebuild, he got traded here, probably played like 5 games for the Hawks. Then he got in that car accident that pretty much ended his career. And he sued whoever hit him and got like all of his like guarantee. Because he had the potential to make more money, I guess.
He was able to sue them for the money that he didn't make.
Yeah, and some. Because you're talking about future earnings, too, that he could have gotten. Let's say he did play well. He already proved that he could get a contract like that. So who's to say that he wasn't going to play well? Nobody knows.
TJ Warren on a career is 15.5 points per game. He's making like 11.7. Let's look at your boy, Tobias Harris. I should call him Tobias, right? It's not nice to call people by their not names. But, I mean, Tobias Harris on a career is 17.5. Meanwhile, let's look at his contract.
What's it? It's like 5 years, 170, right? Something like that.
NBA reference is like playing games.
Or it might even be 5 year, 180.
It's ugly.
God, they gave these guys. The league's got to do something about this. And I know the money coming.
5 years, 180. 30 average 36 a year. Tobias Harris is not fucking 3 times TJ Warren.
He isn't. But you want to know what why the Sixers even? I remember why the Sixers paid him that.
Yeah, because Jimmy Butler walked, so they had to.
Yeah, and they had no choice. They didn't want to lose him, and somebody was, a team like and I know that Tobias had came from Orlando, but a team like the Magic were going to end up paying him that kind of money in reality.
And here's what I think, though, man. I think that teams should get comfortable with players walking away. I think the NBA should take a page out the NFL's playbook and go, just because someone else will pay you this doesn't mean I'm going to pay you this because you're not that valuable to my team. We saw Tyreek Hill leave the Chiefs. The Chiefs wanted to keep Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek Hill asked for a certain dollar figure, and they're like, too rich for my blood, bro. And we kind of hit it in the group text today. We didn't really go in on it. But when we were talking about the Stephon Diggs deal, and I go, man, there's just too many good receivers to pay an older receiver that much money. Like, I'll pay you your second contract, like off your rookie extension, but after that, receivers are getting like running backs.
Yeah. Well, we saw it with Julio, and granted, Julio was always semi-injured for what it's worth, but Julio also is a different breed. If there was anyone, Julio, the Falcons took care of Julio because he was Julio Jones. That was the only. They did not pay him. They knew that within the next 3 years he wasn't going to live up to that contract. They paid him for what he already did, as opposed to what you're gonna do.
What did Ric Flair call him? Julio by God Jones.
Yeah.
Woo.
I mean, this is getting ugly, but nonetheless.
How did the Knicks winning by?
They're up 13.
How much time's left?
It's 7 minutes in the second quarter, but I mean.
Oh God, come on! KD's gonna come out and have like a 14-6 run on it by himself just to get it close.
I'm just saying,
But yeah, no, the Falcons, they paid Julio for what he had done for the franchise.
Similar to when Kobe's last contract with the Lakers, they weren't paying him. They knew that Kobe was shot at that. He was already he was damaged goods. But he's Kobe Bryant, and you weren't going to let Kobe play somewhere else. You were already going to be bad. Might as well have Kobe to still sell out the Staples Center. And you know what? That's like a perfect segue into the Lakers, man. I reshared a post that I put out a while back about the Lakers being a taco truck in the heart of LA. I think the Lakers are a mom and pop shop. They're run like a family business, not like one of the most popular franchises in the world. If you look at their staffing since Dr. Buss has died, all we hire is Lakers, former Lakers, and friends of Lakers. And when you have all that incest going on, eventually your kids start coming out deformed. And that's what happens when you have the Lakers team right now that you look at. And a lot of people want to point the finger at LeBron because of this one bad year. And they go, he's been there for 4 years and 3 seasons have been disappointing. Okay, well, when you get in bed with street clothes, you got to expect that he's not getting off every night because he's just going to take some nights off, And LeBron is 37 now. You brought him in when he was 34. He's old. He's not going to be 78 games LeBron anymore. And guess what, Lakers? Clutch Sports has a better last 9-10 years of running a team than the Lakers do because the Lakers have missed the playoffs 7 of the last 9 seasons. Like, hey, Lakers, LeBron's not the problem. You are, because you don't know how to run a fucking team. You got the best market and some of the best history in the entire NBA. And you suck. You missed out on Paul George because you suck. You didn't get DeMar DeRozan, not because LeBron didn't want him, because you don't know how to run your franchise properly and say, hey, LeBron, no, we're taking DeMar DeRozan because we need KCP because KCP will play defense. Russell Westbrook's not going to play defense. Neither will Russell Wilson because he's a quarterback. It's like, hey,
Miami put their foot down with LeBron in a way that the Lakers can't because they don't have the people to do it.
And I agree with you. And even I'm not anti-LeBron. I like LeBron, but obviously being pro Kobe and kind of the way, that's what made me a Lakers fan, the way the Lakers used to be ran. My question for you quickly is this. Do you think that them, and it's a possibility, I guess. I think LeBron was always just going to come to the Lakers, regardless of who was running the show. I know people think that Magic is like who got him there or whatever.
Let me know what I can unload on Magic too, please.
Yeah. Do you think that they made a mistake by getting rid of Mitch Kupchak? And I asked that question because Mitch is currently the GM of the Hornets. And I know Jordan's got his hand on it too, of course. But they put together a pretty young, exciting team with quality talent. Even though Gordon Hayward is street clothes himself, whenever he plays the Hornets, they are very competent. I mean, they're going to make the play-in. They're going to have a winning season this year. Mitch also is the person that drafted all those guys, the baby Lakers, that came up at the end of Kobe and even the year before LeBron. They traded away all those guys. They're all flourishing for the most part elsewhere, being either the first or second option on teams that they play on. Do you think that them getting rid of Mitch was a mistake?
I know, and here's why. Because Mitch did the Luau Deng and the Mozgov contract. Those are fireable offenses, and we were together when those happened, and we were
I do forget that he did give, but you know what? I mean, look, I guess for him, he kind of, and in the NBA, you do have to use like X amount of your cap space too.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe he shouldn't have signed him to 3 and 4 year deals, but you know what? You're absolutely right. Those are among some of the worst contracts in NBA history.
Yeah, not worse than Tobias Harris, but
no, at least Tobias Harris was. I mean, he paid Luau Deng like he was, the number 2 option for the Bulls with Derrick Rose or something. I mean, and Derrick Rose. I mean, Luau Deng like the year before that might have averaged like 12 points.
So, getting rid of Mitch. Mitch was a good basketball mind, but I understand why Jeannie would get rid of Mitch because she needed to clear the decks to make it her team, right? After she took over from Jim. The problem is the Lakers exiled Jerry West, who is the greatest Laker of all time. I don't care what anybody says, because of what he did in the front office as well as the player. Jerry West brought more success to the Lakers organization than any other Laker, okay?
I can agree with that.
I'm not going to say he's the greatest Laker player. I'm saying he's the greatest Laker ever, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So once you block off Jerry West from coming back, and then he takes the advisory role with the Clippers, that's an obvious, like, slap in your face because Jerry West can work anywhere, okay? And then now he and his wife no longer have their season tickets there, and that happened this year. That just lets me know the Lakers front office, top down, just don't have their ducks in a row. Like, really? Do you think Dr. Buss would ever do that to Jerry West?
No, absolutely not. And I just think that at this point, if you're Jeannie, you already got rid of Jim, right? And Jim seemed like he was a big problem as well. But like, Jeannie's not doing much better. And we get it. She had a really close relationship with Magic.
Hold on. Thank you for bringing up his name. Sorry to cut you off, but let me rant a little bit more. Jeannie, her fucking problem is she's going to Phil. Hey, Phil, I need some help running the team. I want that old thing back. Hey, Jeannie, Phil knows how to coach. He doesn't know how to run a team. Look at the Knicks, okay? Jeannie, you brought in Magic. Magic didn't do a great job running basketball operations. The quote-unquote moves that he made, getting LeBron, Magic, you didn't get LeBron. LeBron got you.
He wanted to be a Laker.
Exactly. And he knew he didn't want to be a Clipper, and if he went to the Clippers and he didn't win a championship, it would stain his legacy versus going to the Lakers and not doing – and if he didn't win the Lakers, who gives a fuck, right? But then Magic has the audacity, the gall to come out and talk about the DeMar DeRozan thing. And everybody's saying, oh, Jeannie just said, hey, Magic, go ahead and put that out there. Because we know when Magic goes to ESPN to say something, he has an agenda. Here's the thing. Magic is still mad at Rob Pelinka for what Rob Pelinka did to him. So anytime he gets a chance to shit on Rob Pelinka, he's going to shit on Rob Pelinka. And guess what? Just like Kareem came out and had his LeBron celebrations are beneath him. Nigga, shut up with your old ass. And then he comes back and apologizes. Magic's legacy as a great NBA player is in question because of LeBron's greatness, and he feels that because LeBron is in his city. So anytime he gets a chance to just shit on LeBron, him and Kareem, they old asses are going to do that. But more importantly, this Magic Johnson can't speak on – I can't say he can't. He can do whatever he wants. I don't want to hear Magic Johnson speak on Lakers front office moves because he left. He could have been in the front office making those moves.
Right. And, you know, it's not like Magic got fired. Magic left on his own accord. But like you said, of course he's going to go after Rob, especially because I remember that one specific report that they said that Rob would be showing up to the office, you know, would be looking around and be asking him, he's like, where's Irvin? Like, you know, like this nigga Magic. Now, Magic, he owns stake in the Dodgers. I'm sure he's got plenty of other business ventures. I know he used to have the movie theaters, right? But it's just like, he really asked, doesn't he? Now, he's supposed to be he is the GM, essentially. I mean, that's what Rob was. And he's asking, where's Magic? You know what I mean? But he's doing it to be funny because you got this nigga's phone number. And more importantly, I know that when y'all park, you guys' parking spots are probably right next to each other. So you would have known if his car was there. And if his car was there, you know that he's in the building. Even if you didn't see him in the specific part of the office, you thought you would see him. And, you know, I think for a guy like Magic, like, you know, like you said, I'm not going to be here. You know what I mean? That Magic, at the end of the day, he is bitter, especially because the following year they won the title, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, and of course with Rob, the thing with Rob Pelinka is too, you know, from my understanding, a lot of NBA executives hate him anyways from his days as an agent.
Which made him a bad hire. Good job, Jeannie.
Right, which was going to make it hard for him to ever get a good, fair deal or have cachet with other GMs. You know, Rob was, for what it's worth, was known for being Kobe's agent. I mean, that's what everybody knew Rob Pelinka was. That's Kobe Bryant's agent. And then, funny enough, Rob Pelinka played on huh? Yeah. He's on right. He was on that. But you know what's even crazier about his time with them? He was a freshman on the team that won the national championship with Glenn Rice. And he was at the end, he's like a senior when the Fab Five were there. Even though he wasn't a starter, obviously.
Yeah, and he didn't get any burn at any time throughout those 4 years.
But the fact that he was a part of the bridge between the championship team that they had all the way to that team.
True.
He's an interesting person for basketball.
No, he really is. And, you know, it also doesn't help that the Lakers are in bed with Clutch because a lot of teams.
Well, they have to. They got to please LeBron.
Right. But a lot of teams and a lot of agents don't like Clutch. So when you got Rob Pelinka, who a lot of people don't like, then you're also with Clutch, who a lot of people don't like. Where's your leverage?
There is none. And that's what leads to this season's team with the Lakers. You know, not to back in on what Magic had said about it, but when you really do look at it from a basketball fit, we all question the Russell Westbrook aspect. How is that going to work, you know, with them on the floor? I don't even question, like, the signings of guys like Carmelo, because I thought Carmelo was going to be a good fit being, you know, an eighth man off the bench. Because he played well. He did play well in Portland. It wasn't like Carmelo kind of had got his stroke back. Like,
no, Melo did what he needed to do for this team. The problem is you don't have Caruso's and Kuzma's.
Guys that are going to play some defense.
Yeah, guys are going to play defense. Guys who
Carmelo is clearly a fucking liability on defense. Who was it? Somebody played them this year and literally said
Jalen Green.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, we just every time Melo got it, we just knew to go after him. And literally, when you look at the clip, it was like, damn, they really were just going after him, and they kept scoring. And it's just like his offensive, what he brought to the table offensively was never going to offset how bad it was going to be defensively. He had to be on a floor with guys that were going to play defense. And
those guys aren't on the roster because they have Ariza and Avery Bradley who got cut, and was it Wayne Ellington they bring his old ass in, or
yeah, Wayne.
I mean,
Malik Monk has been one of the few bright spots on this team. Malik Monk.
Malik Monk was
he earned himself some money this
Malik Monk consistently was the second best Laker all year.
And, the kid doesn't really get his flowers, but I thought Austin Reeves as a rookie played pretty well. For an undrafted rookie, he played fucking phenomenal.
No, Austin Reeves had a great fucking season. Like, I think that Austin Reeves showed some bright spots, and they should keep him on the roster next year, honestly.
Well, and he's on a cheap rookie deal, obviously. So, yeah, he'll be back.
Where do you see that roster going next year? Because they're going to shake it up.
Like, you gotta, and we said this. We talked about this for months now. They got to move on from AD, man, because you're really it's almost going to be impossible to trade Russ, unfortunately.
Nah, we can trade him to Houston
if they'll take the deal. I mean, here's the thing with the Russ thing. Russ is going to be trade bait come All-Star break next year because he's in the last year of his contract. So somebody will take it just to get, so that they know that they got all that cap space that's going to free up. But in terms of this offseason, I just don't know what contending team would take Russ on, and then you're getting anything of value back in return with it.
Well, here's how you get Russell Westbrook. You got Bradley Beal, who will have 1 year left on his deal at the end of this year if he doesn't resign, right? And if Brad Beal says, hey, I want to go to the Lakers, and I don't want to go anywhere else, so trade me there, Washington, so you get value. He's there. And if Washington goes, no, fuck that, we're going to send you where, and he tells the other team, I'm not re-signing with you. They're not going to give up assets.
Right.
So you have the Brad Beal possibility. Let me see Dame Lillard's contract, how many years he has left. See, Dame is on a 4-year 176, so Dame can go anywhere. Dame has an option in 2024, 2025. So Dame goes wherever Portland wants him to go, unless they say, hey, Dame, thanks for all your hard work. We're going to do a complete rebuild. So we are going to ship you out of town so we can get Russell and we can get that money off the books quicker for what we're trying to do long term. But other than that, I see Dame Lillard and Brad Beal are the only possibilities for the Lakers to get off of Russell Westbrook's contract. Whereas AD, I think he has some more options. Oh, don't sleep on Donovan Mitchell.
You want to know who I was going to say don't sleep on?
Who?
And it would take a little bit more. And I know that they want to see how it can work or whatever. Zion Williamson is not going to be a Pelican that long.
But they don't.
I know that AD probably wouldn't be going back there, obviously. Even though he would actually fit in very well. And I know that the money, they'd have to make the money work. But could you imagine the CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram AD team?
They could win the West.
50 games. If AD plays in 60 games in a season, they could win 50 games.
Yeah. If you can get 80 for 60 games, I say you win 55 games. You win the games that 80 play. Pretty much if 80 suits up, you win.
Yeah. A guy like AD is crazy. But in order for the Lakers to recoup a little bit, and we talked about how this guy's contract was a good contract to a degree because he doesn't make as much as everybody else, but it's a semi-high contract. You could trade AD to the Hawks, honestly, and you could get young talent in return. John Collins would obviously be a centerpiece in the deal. Yeah, you maybe could get Clint Capella too because you got a Kongu or and I'm just trying to make the money work on it. Mm-hmm. Collins, you're giving up probably DeAndre Hunter too.
I think Lakers are going to want Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter Collins, maybe.
I'm going to ask for Herter.
And if you're the Hawks, you shut it down.
Right.
Because Hunter gets hurt enough. So, like, for me, he's okay to trade because he already gets hurt too. And Herter made himself an Atlanta legend. Not an Atlanta legend, but certainly he goes down in Hawks lore for his Game 7 against the Sixers.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Kayvon.
Yeah. That's when that nigga, turned into a nigga.
Hey, Rosillo had him on the podcast, and he said, like, when he's balling, he's Kayvon. When he playing like his regular shit's Kevin, but if he playing like some bullshit, they call him Kelvin.
Right. This nigga Kelvin Cato. So you want to keep that together. But could you? I imagine the prospect of it because this year, for all intents and purposes, has been a kind of a disappointment for the Hawks too. I thought they were going to be a top 4 team, but you put them. You get AD, and let's say you can get 60 games out of AD. You put AD with Trey. Now you've got what some would consider this certainly an all-star tandem. But the potential of, 2 top 50, when they're playing their best, 2 top 15 players.
Yeah.
On the same team. And that's something Atlanta. And then with Atlanta, you're selling Anthony Davis. And AD, as much as he probably likes the West Coast, he'll figure out that Atlanta's pretty good too. And
hey, Parlay Pete, Atlanta's a better city than LA.
To live in or over just culturally, like, or overall?
I think it's overall. Like, here's what makes LA great. The weather and the fact that everyone is there. But night to night during the season,
food's great. You can get some really good food out in LA.
You can get good food in any major city in America.
That's true, but
And if you're going, because AD's not going to sell.
Our culture's better for sure. But
AD's not selling his house in LA. He's going to be there in the summer anyways.
Yeah, like they all are.
Like, come to Atlanta during the season.
Hell, Freddie was doing it.
You see what
Freddie lived out in LA. He probably got a really nice house here.
Yeah. Hey, look, AD, come here, get Freddie's old house.
Close to Miami, too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, quick flight to Miami. You're a single guy. It's some nice thotty boppers out here that you can go ahead, you know what I mean? Build up your, you know what I'm saying? You can increase your you know what I'm saying? Because you done played in the West your whole career. So you ain't played in Atlanta 4 times a year to really build up your Rolodex in Atlanta the way you need to. So you come out here, man, you get you a couple of little strippers on your team, little bartenders. You know what I'm saying? You still got your Yadamina in LA, quick flight to Miami, and you're going to play the Heat 4 times a year. That's in division, baby. Come on now.
Well, you got that, and then, man, all the other opportunities to a degree. I mean, certainly the hip-hop community is going to embrace you even more. You're going to be name-dropped in every goddamn song, He
likes to wear jewelry.
Considering Atlanta, when you look at all the retired jerseys at State Farm Arena, everybody, when they think of the Hawks, the first person you think of is Dominique, right?
Yeah. So
but then it falls off kind of tremendously. Pistol Pete wasn't here that long. He was only here 5 years. He was good while he was here, but that's in the 70s too. And he's been dead for 40 years.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have this presence here. Dikembe Mutombo would probably come next to I know Bob Pettit, that's even older, and he was a St. Louis Hawk, not even an Atlanta Hawk. So Dikembe Mutombo pretty much comes next, and he is known to be and a philanthropist and expanding the game in Africa. That's right. Like his lot in life. And Dikembe played on a lot of teams.
Exactly.
He was a Hawk for a long time. He was here for like 6 years. He probably played here longer than anywhere, I would say, because he was in Philly for
I'm looking it up right now.
He was in Philly maybe for 2-3 years. He was in Houston for like 3 or 4 years, backing up Yao Ming. He played in Denver first and was there for maybe 4 or 5 years, but he's probably here for
6 years in Denver.
How many?
5 in Denver. 4 in Atlanta.
Wow.
He got traded.
He had that, but he was almost an all-star every year here.
2 in Philly, 1 in New Jersey, 1 for the Knicks.
Like 3 for like Houston.
6 in Houston.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He backed up.
Here we go. Here we go. 5 Denver, 5 Atlanta, 5 Houston, 2 Philly, 1 with the Knicks, 1 with the Nets. So
most people remember him
right
as a
in
Hawk.
some seasons, huh?
Most people remember him as a Hawk, though, because that jersey, the Big Bird jersey, when you think of, you think of Dikembe. And the year we traded him was the year the Sixers went to the NBA Finals because we traded him for Theo Ratliff, and he won Defensive Player of the Year that year. And I guess that's Philly kind of bolstering their team a little, considering they really needed another scorer with AI. But, what do I know? I'm serious, because we did this once, too. We looked up that Sixers team when we were talking about something, and I said it was something about AI and how great he was and how he doesn't – or it was something that we talked about. I don't remember, but I brought it up, and I was just like, AI didn't even have – the second leading scorer on the team was like Aaron McKee, and he averaged like 12 points.
No, it was bad.
That was we were talking about LeBron, actually, and I was
probably talking about
Harden. Who?
Supporting cast.
Yeah, and I think I was just trying to say, like, I don't know. I guess I think we were looking at LeBron and that Cavs team too, and the supporting cast, and then who you played against, because I argued that they played against the Spurs. And they got swept, and I don't think that the Cavs even scored 90 points in any game that series. But with the Sixers, they obviously beat the Lakers, being the only team that beat them in the playoffs that year. Granted, AI had to drop 50 in the game 1, but and then the iconic step over TLOU.
Don't do my guy TLOU like that, man.
I like TLOU. Look, TLOU's a former Hawk too. I remember when TLOU was a Hawk.
Yeah, the Cavs did not break 90 points. They broke 90 points one game. Game 2, they went for 92.
And then a bunch of those games scored like 70.
Hey, you know what? I'm looking at these scores. It was a sweep, but you know how when the Hawks played the Warriors those 2 years and they got beaten 5 and they got beat and they got swept with the KD Warriors, how if you watch the games, the series was much closer than the game count. Same here.
Was there two one possession, maybe one possession game, then one 3 or 4 5-point game?
So game 1, they got their ass kicked 85-76. That's 9 points. I don't know what the fouls look like at the end of the game. Game 2, never mind. 103-92. Game 3, 75-72. Game 4, 83-82. So those last 2 games could very easily been 2-2 going into game 5.
It wasn't though.
No, it wasn't. I'm just saying, sometimes when we talk about sweeps, right? And this is Skip Baylessism. You talk about the sweep, but you actually won't talk about the scores of the game. You go, oh, they beat them 4-0. They kicked their ass. Well, let's see how bad they beat them in each game.
Yeah, true. And I think that in the instance of a team like the Hawks, right? I look at even the Hawks. The Hawks got swept by the Cavs the first year Cleveland played Golden State.
Well, yeah, we knew that.
There was no K-Love, and then Kyrie missed 2 of those games, but the Hawks got their ass beat in all 4 games. None of those games are close.
The Hawks showed up expecting to lose those games. Whereas in 2008, when they got beat by the Celtics and they took the Celtics to 7, they showed up hey, bro, we can beat these niggas.
Well, more importantly, what do we have to lose? Let's just go out here and play. That is one. Did you go to any of those games?
No.
I want to talk about one of the best sports experiences I've ever been a part of. I went to all 3 games that were here. Man, talk about this shit like that is what made you want to root for the Hawks, because everybody was in, and even though we're playing against a team like the Boston Celtics, everybody in the arena was wearing the white shirts. You know what I mean? They had the white shirts. Hawks hadn't had a playoff game here in 10 years. Bro, you want to talk about one of the only thing that doesn't hold a flame to it, and the only thing that it surpasses it all together is obviously the NFC Championship. The last game of the Georgia Dome goes down as, I don't think There's no sport unless the Hawks are somebody. If the Braves had won the World, and I tell you what, that Braves World Series Game 5, the crowd was there. I mean, we were there. You thought that they were going to get it done.
Oh so yeah, bro. Like, can we give you props for going from Falcons game to Braves game that day? Like that's
that Falcons game was an appetizer.
Huh?
That Falcons game was an appetizer. We knew what dinner was. We knew it was on that was going to be on the menu later that night. But yeah, one of the rare occurrences where I've got to do something like that, hit 2 different sporting events in one day. And the unfortunate part about it was I remember I parlayed it thinking that we were going to win. We ironically lost both games, but still fun nonetheless to go from there to here. Because you came back here afterwards, right, for a little bit. Because then you went to the Battery.
I came back to your house after the Falcons game. Then I was going to meet up. I was going to go to the Battery because I wasn't going to the game. And then I was like, bro, I'm sleepy. I need a nap.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't go because the Battery, you had nowhere. You could not walk anywhere. Like it was – you would have – and then the thing is, all the white people that were like there, they had their lawn chairs and like people were literally like just posting. And they had an area where they kind of could do that, but it was just so congested to where they even were letting it to where like you can't even walk this far if you don't have a ticket. Like,
well, bro, remember I was there for the closeout game versus the Dodgers, and you were talking about coming out there. I'm like, bro, like, don't do it. It's not that it's not fun, but you can't get into a bar. It's nuts out here. It's a bunch of shit going on. Parking's like $100.
Ubering's probably first of all, it's going to take forever to get one. Or if you got one coming in, you're not able to come in. Like you got to get out your car and walk kind of a little bit.
Yeah, nah, it was all bad. But hey, question for you. Let's get back to these Lakers real quick. There's rumors that Frankie V's out, which we know it was going to happen anyways. They're talking Doc Rivers or Quinn Snyder. Doc Rivers, that's a no for me.
It's a no for me too. And I don't think Doc would take the job. Why would he go to the Lakers? I mean, I guess maybe they could pay him.
Darryl Mori is going to fire him at the end of the year if they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And Darryl Mori knows they're not going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's his second year. And hell, Doc was on the All-NBA, the NBA 75 team as one of the top 10 coaches. So, like, what, you just going to get rid? I mean, you got to be.
Hey, you want to hear white privilege at its finest?
Go for it.
Darryl Mori has more cachet in the NBA than Doc Rivers, and Darryl Mori has not won a fucking thing.
Nothing.
Doc Rivers has won
some competitive and Houston was good for a long time.
Yeah, no. Right. Darryl, I think you can. There's an argument that Darryl Mori might be the best GM in the NBA. Like the stuff that hurt Darryl Mori were things outside of GMing. KD wanting
to like comments about China,
huh?
You mean like comments about China?
I support freedom of speech.
I do too, but clearly the NBA doesn't. They asked LeBron about it too, and LeBron was like,
LeBron said, this nigga don't know what he's talking about. He needs to shut the fuck up.
Because LeBron probably, even though he's maybe the 3rd or 4th most popular athlete out there, he still is loved. People love him too.
Yeah, LeBron knows where his shoe purchases come from.
Right.
And but the thing is I think Darryl Mori's one of the best GMs in the league, and the stuff that hurt him is KD going to play for the Warriors to really just shift the balance when his team was at its peak.
Chris Paul getting hurt at the most
right. Chris Paul getting hurt. Then
in the last 2 games of the series when you're up 3-2.
Tillman Fertitta buying the team that he was running and goes, okay, I got this idiot billionaire who knows nothing about basketball calling the shots, making me trade Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook. This isn't going to work. Okay, you know what?
He's a numbers guy too. I mean, he owns a casino, so he's got to be all about his numbers,
Well, apparently, I want to say his son is kind of the guy who actually is like running the team-ish. And he's more like, make James happy because James is our guy. And not where Daryl's like, hey, James is our guy, we're going to make James happy. But I can present an educated argument to James why this player works better than that player. Fuck how you feel.
Right.
Again, but nonetheless, Darryl Mori gets more cachet than Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers has won a championship. Darryl Mori has not put together a championship team.
Right. And, you know,
I like it. Quinn Snyder's getting fired, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the Jazz lately?
No.
You don't want to see them. They look pretty bad. They arguably, they play, as of right now, how it's set up, they would play Denver in the first round. I think even without Porter and them, I think Denver runs them. Seriously. I think Denver beats it in 6.
Well, because Rudy
Gobert. They
Gobert
already did it in the bubble, right?
Well, Rudy Gobert is like the worst All-NBA player of my lifetime.
The worst?
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Ben Wallace in a sense of he's a defensive guy, right? He's hell. Well, how many has he won? I know he's won 2. Has he won 3? Ben won 3, right? Or did Ben win 4?
Here's the difference.
I'm just saying, and Gobert scores more points than he's more effective offensively than Ben was.
But Rudy Gobert plays in an era where he needs more offensive effectiveness, and he can't do it. He's a 3-time DPOY.
He's stacking himself up to where if he gets to 6 All-Stars, he's got a really good chance of going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, he's been All-NBA more times than he's been All-Star.
You know, a guy like Rudy Gobert would be really good to play with LeBron James.
Yeah,
because he could be that sole rim protector that's on the floor, and then there's LeBron, and then
LeBron, Rudy, 3 shooters.
It would work.
Yeah.
And one good back, like a Jalen Brunson backup point guard is your 6th man. That'd be
yeah.
Because then you could play, because Jalen Brunson can play off ball, right? Because he does it with Luka.
Yeah.
A team like that, that's how the Lakers got to really construct that thing. They're not going to be able to do that.
Well, the problem is the Lakers can't construct their team properly because they can't construct their front office properly because they got
money.
The Rambis family in there running roughshod over the whole fucking organization.
Wasn't that the craziest thing to come out of that? Was that like not only Kurt Rambis, but Kurt Rambis' wife? It's like, what the fuck does Kurt Rambis' wife know about basketball?
She's Jenny's best friend from the time that fucking Kurt played for the team.
Yeah, and what was Kurt? Kurt was, and maybe the 8th man off the bench for those. I'm gonna pull up Kurt. You know, Kurt Rambis is known for being the guy that wore glasses that got into a fight with fucking Kevin McHale. You know what I mean? He's had a terrible. When he was the coach of like the Timberwolves, they were awful, and maybe not too much his fault for that, but they still were. They were pretty bad when he was a head coach. Like,
would you like to hear Kurt Rambis's
career stat line? 5.6 points, 4.3 rebounds.
5.2 points, 5.6 rebounds.
There we go. Look, I'm almost spot on. Like, I'm almost spot on. I mean, that sounds about right though. And think about it. And look, we know former players get these opportunities. That's why a guy like Ryan Hollins can be working on ESPN for whatever fucking reason, even though Ryan Hollins didn't do shit in the NBA, right? But we should respect his opinion because he still made it to the NBA. And he comments on your posts, right?
I used to watch my stories, yeah.
Why? I'm just kidding. Because he didn't follow you, right? So it's like it wasn't like you were talking about him and tagging him.
No, I talked about him a couple of times, and then like somehow he found it. I don't know if this nigga like goes and like searches his name or some shit. Like
probably.
Like,
how many people are talking about Ryan Hollins?
Us right now.
Well, precisely. You know I'm just saying he's also not somebody that's getting talked about in the media.
But here's the thing, though. Sometimes, and golly, players are going to hate this take. But people like you and I who watch games and we don't play games and we just watch it from the 360-degree view, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we understand the entire game better than those who play the game, right? There's like a love for like LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook. The way niggas love Kyrie. Those guys do things on the court that players go, oh shit, I could never do that. And then me and you'll watch the game and go, that shit was dope, but that don't help y'all win because can't nobody play off of that.
Well, I'm looking at it now because you brought up Kyrie. They just started the second half of this Brooklyn Knicks game and scored 70-50. And I mean, what do you make of and I guess, we could kind of close the Lakers portion of this because, like I said, that team is rough and they're going to have to – they have two different routes. And then I'm going to get to just kind of about Brooklyn real quick because, we can basically talk about these were the two teams that were the favorites to go to the NBA Finals. One's definitely not going to the playoffs. The other one is about to be in the play-in. And, I mean – nothing tells me, even with I know it's like playoff basketball is a little different, but I don't know. Nothing is telling me that these guys, because they can't stop anybody. So I just, if Kyrie and KD, if they don't do what they did, and even once, like we saw KD against the Hawks, I didn't even think 55 was his career high. I figured he had 160-point game. As great of a scorer as he is, you would have thought he had 160. Well, Kyrie just had a 60-point game, right?
Hey, but here's why KD hasn't had a 60-point game, because KD cares more about efficient games than actually like scoring points. Like KD would rather go 14 of 15 for like 45 than going like
17 of 36 for 58.
Yeah. Like, to a fault, he cares about efficiency.
Man, I'd care about just putting that ball in the fucking hole. I don't care how many times it takes. Like, especially when you're getting your ass beat like this. And I tell you what, let me not count them out because the Knicks have they've blown a lot of leads this year, if you've seen it. Matter of fact, actually, funny enough, they played the Nets one time and blew a lead similar to
KD, a lot of people like to compare Aaron Rodgers to LeBron. KD is more Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers cares about his fucking passer rating to a fault.
Yeah, and his completion. Yeah.
And KD cares about being an efficient shooter where sometimes, hey, man, can you go out there and Kobe it up?
You want to know what the thing I think, too? Kevin Durant is, and like I said, some people, even with Aaron Rodgers, I'm glad you brought him up. Kevin Durant, to me, is for all intents and purposes, he's really the greatest scorer I've ever seen. I mean,
I argued for James Harden a few years ago, but it's not.
Give me KD.
Yeah, it's KD.
KD, and I'm putting Kobe second. And this is coming from a Kobe fan, because Kobe wasn't as efficient, obviously, but Kobe, always came up big, and you never could count Kobe Bryant out. Like, you could never count him out. And of course, Kobe made the most difficult shots anyone's ever seen. I mean, you're talking a nigga's hand to be on this nigga's nose, and he's just shooting it, doesn't get the foul. It's just straight water. Like, you know what I mean? Like, KD is so smooth with it. It's crazy. I think Kobe had 2 scoring titles his entire career, maybe 3. KD had like 4 in like his first like 6 years in the NBA. It's insane.
Well, the thing about KD is defense doesn't stop KD. KD just misses shots.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, and this is why KD is to me the greatest scorer, even over like Kobe, that I've seen.
Nigga 7 foot.
Exactly. Exactly. There's no other. There'll never be another Kevin Durant.
Like, I was listening to him today because he and JJ Reddick did a podcast together, and I was listening to it on the flight, and he was saying some stuff, and JJ was like, "Oh yeah, you got that from the dirt workout, huh?" And KD was like, pretty much like, "Yeah, nigga, how you know?" You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like KD took a lot from Dirk, and we're gonna talk about Brooklyn, but real quick. I think JJ Reddick may be the best basketball profile to have a podcast because he was a respectable pro, but he was such a great college player that all the pros give him that respect of, nah, bro, like, nigga, you like that. You just a 6'4" white boy who ain't athletic. So like the NBA ain't where you gonna be great. Just science, nigga.
That and then he's the face of Duke basketball of all, and I don't think he won a national championship.
He did.
He's the face of Duke basketball in the 2000s, in my opinion. He was the face of Duke basketball, not Carlos Boozer, not Chris Duhon, not
Carlos who?
Boozer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all the Battier, all the guys that played in the 2000s. John Shire, the new coach at Duke, which he had a pretty good Duke career too, but like he's like, when I think of Duke basketball in the 2000s, I think of JJ Reddick.
Yeah, no. If I think of
he was hated. He was hated like Christian Laettner. Like, you know,
90s is Laettner, 2000s is.
Well, you could say Laettner. I mean, Laettner gets the soul spot, but Grant Hill definitely gets
Yeah. Laettner Hill. Then you got Reddick. Honestly, Reddick and Sheldon Williams from that era.
Yeah, because they were teammates, but Sheldon Williams fucking blew in the NBA. He
was loaded in Candace Parker.
At the Hawks draft party the night we drafted him, we couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he blew his load in Candace Parker though. So shout out to him.
Well, she likes women now apparently. So
good for her. Whatever makes her happy.
Did she get turned out in the WNBA, or was she always get?
None of my business.
Hey, well, and we'll never know.
Question. Book of Eli wants to know what is our opinion on Enes Kanter? Real quick, he can't defend the pick and roll.
I gotta say politically or as a player.
I assume
that sounds like more of a political question.
I assume he's going like, and the player, he has a good offensive game, but he can't play defense. And he talked shit about LeBron and took on China and don't buy you money.
Enes Kanter went super high. He got drafted like 3rd, right? And he didn't even. I don't even think he's. I know he went to Kentucky. I don't think he even played very many games there.
And it's freedom.
He went 3rd or overall, right, in the NBA draft.
Let's see. Let's pull up the NBA.
And I think the data itself will tell you how kind of my opinion on him. For all intents and purposes, he's an NBA draft bust. But I'm almost certain he went 3rd.
Yeah, he went 3rd in the 2011 draft.
And he hasn't lived up to that billing. So if I had to have a definitive opinion on him as a player, it's definitely that.
What he wants to 11.
I think he has good points in what he. Go ahead.
He averaged 11-8 on the career.
That sounds more like a late 1st round pick to me. But
let's see. His best
no all-stars, no most improved players. Did he make the all-rookie team?
Huh?
Did he make any team? Like, you know, what does his Wikipedia say? Did he?
I'm looking at his basketball reference.
He wasn't a Kentucky great, so
he averaged one year. He started 82 games.
Okay, perfect attendance. That was always a great award in elementary school.
Oh no! He played in 82 games. He only started 1 game that year. His career high game started 71, and that was on the 2000. I think
he had 1 year where he averaged
Knicks.
Yeah, he probably averaged like his best point season was what?
Points per game. Oh shit!
He probably had an 18-point year.
No, he didn't.
Really?
No. Oh yeah, he did. He had one in 14-15 for OKC. He averaged 18. But he only played 20. He only played 26 games.
Well, there you go. So smaller sample size. I don't have much of an opinion on him, but I do think he does bring up good points in regards to he's handling it the way that I wish when the Black Lives Matter stuff took over, which that's another topic we can get into a little bit later.
Oh, the niggas stealing and building houses?
Them and how those funds are getting used. But I wish that was the way that he handles kind of, you know, what he likes to talk about in regards to China and stuff, and how he says, you know, somebody like LeBron's got enough power to essentially say something about it and involve Nike to where you start talking about sneakers. Now, Nike wouldn't, as much as they like LeBron's not Michael Jordan either. And so it's just like, from a shoe salesman standpoint, he's not. And so,
well, the thing is, in this
I'm just saying he's not. If they released LeBron from his contract, I don't know what that language would look like, but I'm just saying if they don't want to listen to what he has to do politically or something like that, they could do it and still be okay because people will still buy Nike regardless.
Yes. And the thing is in his cancer, he doesn't have endorsement deals that he has to protect. So I love to hear it. I love to hear people speak freely about the things that they believe in. But the one thing is when you don't have stuff that you can lose when you speak on this shit, I hardly care. Like, let me see where your heart's actually at when you got something to lose. Because that's what tells me where your heart is. So do we think Brooklyn's going to do anything real quick before we just close this one out?
Well, right now they're making a little bit of a charge.
I'm talking about as a team this season.
I know. Well, this season's almost over. And this is a part of it. But,
are they going to get out the second round?
Are they going to get out of the play-in?
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Wait. These are fair questions. And I say this because wow, no foul. I say this because as I'm watching this game against the Knicks, let's say right now this is how it's sizing up. It's sizing up for them to play the Hornets. That game could either be in Brooklyn or Charlotte, but
what is that? The 9-10 game or the 7-8 game?
That would be the 9-10 game. And so, of course, that's win or go home. You lose that game, you're out. Charlotte can score. So that's something that if you don't play defense, then you really got to outscore them. And LaMelo, let me tell you,
he's playing to keep Jello's bills paid.
Man, let me tell you, that boy is a lot better than that. And you know what? It's a travesty that he didn't go 1 that year.
I won't go that far because
I know Ant-Man looks maybe he didn't fit the Timberwolves, but certainly a team like Golden State, you know how well Golden State could be using him right now?
No, that's where it fucked up.
They could have started him with Steph and Clay, even. That he could play with them. I think they could all play together.
Well, here's the problem, man. Apparently he sank his draft value because he was looking for the best fit for him. And is he really mellow ball the way we want, the way we see him right now? If he's playing for Golden State, he's winning basketball games. He's winning more basketball games.
I bet he's putting up, honestly, bro, I bet he's still giving you 20 and 7. Seriously.
I don't know if he gets to touch the ball enough because Steve Kerr wants to run that motion offense bullshit.
I mean, but it's not like Steph's a 10 assist guy himself.
No, Steph is like a 5 assist guy.
Now, the thing is a guy like Wiggins on the team still? That's really the question.
No. A guy like who?
The guy that started in the NBA All-Star game?
The worst All-Star starter in NBA history?
The guy that started? Yeah, that guy.
Fuck no.
He's probably not on the team. They probably trade him for some other pieces. Wiseman, obviously, as of right now, I guess he's been injured too much, but what do you make? I mean, he's kind of a bust. This would have still been a better pick because then you're not going to move off from Clay, but gosh, I mean,
for the money you're paying him and the production you get from Jordan Poole and fucking Melo Ball is like Clay.
But well, right, and exactly, and so that's and you probably could have cashed in more on his value because somebody would have overpaid for something you hadn't seen.
Especially before he tore the Achilles, you could have
that too. Yeah, before last season that started.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Go for it. We
talked about Philly for a little while. What the fuck does Elton Brand actually do? He's the GM. Let me paint it for the listeners. Elton Brand is the GM for the 76ers. He was the GM who gave Tobias Harris the worst contract in NBA history. And then they had a regime change. They fired the head coach, Brett Brown. And then they also brought in Darryl Mori to be the president of basketball operations, the former GM of the Houston Rockets, a guy who had winning seasons pretty much every year he was in Houston. He had a winning season and damn near had a all-NBA player on his team each year. I have the utmost, I like it. I'm drinking beer. I'm traveling.
Shout outs to LeBron, man.
I was on that last night.
Lakers stock not up, but I'm sure Lobos is.
But we all know that Darryl Mori is putting his own imprint on that team. Honestly, I feel like
he's obviously the one making the moves.
I feel like
because they could have got Harden.
Yeah,
he literally just got there by the time he got traded to Brooklyn.
Exactly. I am inclined to believe that Elton Brand is being groomed for his next job right now, or he's been neutered from all of his responsibilities, and he's just an impotent guy getting paid a lot of money to go hang out in the locker room and tell the players what's going on upstairs.
You want to know, right, basically. You want to know what, when you brought that up, the first situation I thought of?
What's up?
You've got the shirt on right now. It sounds a lot like...
He's Terry Fontenot?
He's Terry Fontenot, and Darryl is Rich McKay. Because... What does Terry Fontenot do? He just seems like he's a mouthpiece because Rich McKay doesn't come out and speak to the media. But
he just speaks to Arthur.
But for whatever reason, he's been a part of every Falcons decision-making since 2004 when he got hired here to be the GM. So I'm just curious. He's the one constant from 2004 to today, and he's still here. So what he's doing is clearly something that's adding value to the Falcons, or that they believe is adding value, because he wouldn't be in that position still.
He's Howie Roseman.
If Arthur Blank wanted to hire Rich McKay to be his business partner or his liaison for business, then he would just call him that. He wouldn't be still giving him this title of, he moved from GM to president. It was as if, Arthur was like, that's okay, Rich. I know it's not your fault that Michael Vick fought dogs and that we hired Bobby Petrino. That you had nothing to do with that. But if you could, can you get the next GM in here? And then you kind of start running more of our day-to-day business stuff. We're about to build a new stadium. Can you be in charge of stuff like that? Oh, and then whenever the coach and, the GM butt heads, can you be essentially the tiebreaker? Because that's what it seems like he is, which makes him have the ultimate decision, and he has influence over if these guys aren't on the same exact page on something, he gets to kind of make the final decision. That's what it seems like Elton Brand is. It seems as if he's in a position of where, because who owns the Sixers? It's Michael Rubin, right?
Michael Rubin's like a minority owner. He's like the clout owner, but he's not like the main owner.
Right. He's the guy that sits with Robert Kraft and Meek Mill at games.
Yeah, man, look.
Yeah, and he owns Fanatics, right?
Yes. Michael Rubin is a owner. Who's owner?
No. Tepper's the guy that owns Fanatics because he owns the Panthers.
Who?
Rubin owns something. Rubin's rich. Right?
No, Rubin is a part owner of the
Fanatics. With Tepper.
Now we're saying, he's a co-owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, but I'm trying to find like who the fucking owners are.
Well, point being, those guys make the decisions along with
Josh Harris is the main owner.
Along with Maury, and Elton is kind of the, hey, Elton, we just want to hear your opinion. You're a former player. We see what James Jones is doing in Phoenix. And that guy, he's doing a fantastic job. He seems to really know what he's doing. Would you be surprised at all if the Lakers did move on from Pelinka? If LeBron didn't
James
Jones the bag?
I don't think he'd do it to CP3.
James Jones he's got to have more. Look, I hate to say it, it's not that Phoenix can't win next year. Phoenix don't win this year. I don't think Phoenix is winning.
No, because DeAndre Ayton didn't get his big extension, so they're either gonna have to give him a qualifying offer, or he's gonna walk out the fucking door. Because
I think he's gonna be a Charlotte Hornet. He fits that team so well. They need a center.
Who, the Hornets?
Yes, and they have the money. I think Michael Jordan will pay DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, but the problem is Phoenix can still match it, and they'll have him for a couple more years.
Well, and then they're going to set themselves up to be in cap hell because you got Book, him, and then you still got to play Bridges too.
They already paid Bridges. They paid him this summer.
Did they? Yeah. Well, but he didn't get no serious pay.
No. He didn't get a max, but yeah,
17, 20, something like that.
But that's the problem. Nobody in NBA circles thinks that Robert Sarver's going to pay 3 max contracts because he's a cheap fuck and he doesn't deserve a team.
Well, wait until the Cincinnati Bengals have to play Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase because the Brown family, I've been told they're the same exact way. And we got those two guys. Plus, if they add more, Joe Mixon already got paid to a degree.
Yo, but Burrow's gonna ask for the Deshaun contract. Yo, I need 240.
Oh no!
All
By
of
the time he gets to it, it'll be 300.
Yeah, because we got to see what.
Because he's gonna be 2 years before he's eligible.
Here, no,
unless they try and pay him now.
He'll be eligible next season because that's where they did Mahomes.
That's year 3.
After 3 years, they did Mahomes, they did Deshaun, they did fucking.
They just fucked the 5th-year option altogether. Let's just get it done now.
Well, if you want the guy, why would you pay him on the 5th-year option? Because the 5th-year option is fully guaranteed money against the cap. If you restructure the contract and you can start doing that cap gymnastics bullshit, where you're paying them and you're putting real money into salary to bonuses and shit like that, to where you don't have to pay it all out against your cap.
Right.
Hey, real quick football question. If you own a team, how much money would you pay for the Rams GM and capologist? I'd break the bank for them niggas.
Yeah, because they just seem to be making everything work.
They paid Jared Goff money last year.
Yeah, I know. It's similar to what we did with Julio. And, we'll still be on the hook for some money for Julio this year. Catwalk.
Hey, our roster sucks, though.
Well, and then we're going to have like $120 million next year, which I'm very excited about.
Right, which is why I know.
Will anyone want to come here?
Which is why I know you're not like in love with Malik Willis, because it's like, we're going to have cap money next year. Like,
and we're not going to be able, because there's going to be no quarterback that's necessarily available unless you want Kirk Cousins potentially. But like, there's, unlike this year where you could kind of trade and get a guy, unless something goes really south with somebody, that's not going to be a possibility next year. But like we said, two of the best young quarterbacks would appear to be guys that could be those next guys. They're there, and I just don't understand if Marcus is already your starter. I just don't see why you would draft Malik Willis with the 8th pick and you've got all these holes, and then you're just going to let him sit for a minimum of half the season. Because, and I know that Marcus Mariota gets hurt, but like I said, at this point, Cam Newton's got to suck it up. I just signed Cam. That way Falcons fans can be happy. You can get what you've been wanting for a decade now. And, let Cam and Marcus battle it out in camp, win 4-3 games.
Hey, man, I say we trade back.
That's what I want to do, too.
You saw what Howie did. And I give Howie shit for drafts and Rager, but.
Fantastic trade. He won that trade.
Yeah.
Because he was setting him, and even though I was giving Josh some shit, he set himself up to where, next year is when we really want to be able to trade up for a quarterback anyways. We don't necessarily need all these picks, and we can pick up a second along with a third this year. Are you kidding me? Let's do it. You're going to give me a third this year, a second next year, and I'm going to just swap basically giving you another first, and then we get your first next year. And the Saints aren't going to win 10 games. So, they will probably be second in the division by default just because of the Falcons and Panthers not being good.
Bro, I don't know
win 8 games,
They'll be that. I don't believe in Dennis Allen.
And they could be worse. Who knows? They really could be worse. But my thought is, I guess, but then, there's some people that believe that they might even weigh their options if Kenny Pickett is there.
Yep.
I mean, who knows? I don't know what the Saints.
You can draft little hands.
I'd be okay with it,
bro. I mean, if the Saints
get not freezing cold take one day, but I'd be okay with it.
I'd be ecstatic if the Saints do it. Like, hey, man, he played 5 years in college and didn't get good to his 5th year for a reason.
Now, some people could say the same about Joe, but he's not Joe either. And because Joe won the whole fucking thing,
and also
we saw what he looked like with talent.
Right, and Joe not playing
in the toughest conference in football.
And Joe not playing at Ohio State was not because Joe wasn't good enough to play at Ohio State. There were recruiting politics, and if we be real, Dwayne Haskins set records at Ohio State, so it's not like Dwayne Haskins was a bad college quarterback.
He wasn't him. Well, and let's just go deeper into it because he transferred before Dwayne even was the star. He was there with JT, Cardale Jones, who won the national championship, and for what it's worth, the start of the season, it was supposed to be Braxton Miller. I mean, let's give Herb some credit here. Herb was a fucking hell of a recruiter. I mean, think about it. He had Cam Newton and
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, man. I mean,
so it seems like Herb just doesn't know the right guy to play because he was playing Tebow instead of Cam.
But remember, Cam got in trouble.
That's not why Cam wasn't playing.
I'm just saying, but Tim was clearly because you had Chris Leak, who's the star that senior year, but Tebow was in on like a lot of packages because Tebow had like 10 rushing touchdowns.
Well, yeah, because Herb met Tebow and he like fell in love with that motherfucker.
Yeah, they're guys. Well, Herb is supposed to be the way he makes it sound, but we know that he's a fraud.
Question anybody's relationship with God, but when I think of Urban Meyer, I don't think of God-fearing Christian.
What do you think of?
Butt grabbing perv.
Oh, pervin?
Yeah, old pervin liar. That's what Jim Rome called him.
Yeah. He look, Herb's got his way with the ladies, that's for sure.
Hey man.
That and then Papa John's pizza. That video of him after like the was it at Ohio State or Florida? It was like him basically like sitting on the back of a cart and it was like him like eating like a Papa John's pizza. I don't remember if that was the end of Florida or Ohio State, but
that's racist pizza, buddy.
He that's what he was eating. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with a little Papa John's.
I mean, I haven't had it in years, but you know what?
They used to be all up at the dome.
I know, but apparently, like the Grammys happened Sunday. Did you watch?
I heard about that. I didn't watch it, but I did hear that it did happen. I know that as a Kanye fan, and you'll see this stuff. I saw that obviously Jail won Best Song, which I don't know what it went up against, but I'm not mad at that selection. I thought that song was great, and I knew it the first time I heard it at the listening party. So,
well, what are your thoughts on Tyler the Creator getting Best Rap Album over Donda, even though Donda got like a couple of
Album of the Year nomination?
Yeah,
doesn't it not make any sense? It's like, well, how is this up for Album of the Year, but it can't even win Rap Album? I don't think that it should have.
Here's why it makes sense. Rap Album of the Year is not even a televised award.
It has been.
No.
It was. That's how Kanye got his first speech for College Dropout.
Well, according to Joe Budden,
what I would do if I didn't win. That was for Rap Album of the Year.
Well, I'm just
saying it has been in the past.
Well, okay, so
I'm sure Macklemore got his award on TV.
In the recent past, according to Joe Budden's podcast, because I don't watch the Grammys ever. I haven't watched the Grammys since J-Lo had on that green dress. They don't televise that, and by them not televising Rap Album of the Year, that lets me know that they don't value hip hops.
Most of them don't even show up for it though, because now it's just not even.
Well, would you show up if you're getting the Album of the Year amongst your peers and that shit ain't even gonna be on TV? Like, why the fuck would I go here in the one award that I actually care about? I'm not even gonna get here. I got that shit yesterday.
Well, it's weird because hip hop, at the end of the day, people can argue with their moms, but it's the most it is pop music now. So like, it's the most popular genre of music. Rap music is the most popular genre of music today.
Murphy Lee told you he's hop to what's hip.
He also, how does he like his Air Force Ones? He said he likes the gum bottoms, right? I think that was his line.
I can't even. I'm trying to get my brain.
Redo the song. Then
right. If I was at home, I would pull it up and play it for you. But like technology is not what it normally is today.
Yeah.
We're in a fucking hotel room in Kansas City, man. I'll tell you what, the Midwest, it's not pretty.
Are you close to where their ballpark is?
I don't even know, man. I am.
Barbecue. What'd you eat for dinner?
It was really good. I forgot what it's called.
But it wasn't barbecue.
Oh, yeah, it was barbecue. It was great.
Oh, fantastic. I've heard a lot of good things about Kansas City barbecue.
Oh, yeah, man. No, it was one of the best brisket sandwiches I've ever had in my life.
Heard a lot of good things. I heard that even their barbecue sauce is, next level out there.
Yeah, no. And what else did
Sweeter.
I had? I had a smoked shit. I forgot what I had. I've been drinking a lot today. It was a whiskey drink. Old fashioned, smoked old fashioned. It was great.
They didn't use that whistle pig, did they?
I don't know what they used. I didn't ask.
Probably something local. It should be, at least.
I'm 13 miles from the park.
I've been told that that's a very nice atmosphere. It's kind of like the Battery.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've seen it on TV. I remember, they showed it, of course, when the Chiefs had played, and then I remember it had just opened, I think, when the Royals went to the World Series in like 2014 or 13. It was a long time ago when the Royals went. But because they did go to one. They won one.
Yeah, no, the Royals, they
played like small ball. It was like a weird, they were bunting and stuff. Like they used speed. They were,
shit. So the Chiefs and the Royals are like in the same spot.
Yes, but it's called something live, like the Battery.
Oh, no.
Might be Kansas City live. I have no idea. But I know
I have a good feeling where I'm going to be at Saturday night.
Gosh, you're there that long?
Yeah, I'm here till Sunday morning. I fly out 7 o'clock Sunday.
I might need to make a trip out there.
We can
talk about that. But seriously, back to the Grammy Awards and Tyler winning Rap Album of the Year. I listened to that album, and I didn't think that it was particularly something that should have won. And you know what the crazy thing about Tyler, the creator of all artists, I still like his music, but I was a fan of his more so in like his earlier days. I like the kind of cringy stuff that he used to do because those albums were really good. Like Wolf is like a great, like that's the type of album that should win album of the year. Like for our rap album of the year, Wolf was so good. Wolf is like a combination of his old self with the new stuff and like all in one. Cause that was when he started to make that transition, but it was good because it was still like, and it's not just about like, he used to talk about fucking rape and like shit, like, but like kind of similar to Eminem in a weird way. Like, when you listen to old Eminem, he would say some stuff and you're like, he's talking about fucking killing his baby mom and like tying her up and driving to California for 7 hours and having her wave to people while she's dead. And so, and nobody talks about how, and those are the Eminem albums that have made Eminem and why music is still so popular. Yeah,
we don't care about you want to stand here and watch me burn.
Right.
No shot at Rihanna, bro.
No, we like I'm Slim Shady, I'm the real Shady. Won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? That's the shit I want to hear. Like,
I want to hear him talk about his whole fucking childhood trauma, and how it ruined him. But he's a billionaire, so I don't give a fuck.
Right. And so now, like I said, with someone like Tyler, the Creator, now they got it on 90s. Oh man, the fucking Nets are down 7 now. Start of the fourth.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
I'm mad. Well, I got them on the spread, so I need them to win by 6. But which they still can, honestly. But nonetheless, yeah, I didn't think that he deserved it. Of course, biasly, I'm gonna say that I thought Donda should have won, and that's why Donda won 2 of those awards. I know, best rap song, and then like best like collaboration or something.
Damn, yo, the Celtics. I'm sorry. The Celtics are beating the Bulls by fucking 18 right now. Why? They are dog walking everybody. Are these niggas that good?
No. And I say that because they've got 2 relatively elite scorers, right? In Brown and Tatum. I would say that they're, if they're not elite, they're the notch below elite. I think Tatum is elite scoring. I do think he's elite.
That nigga 4 for 15.
Well,
but I mean,
who's doing it for him then? Brown?
No, Tatum is 4 for 15 with 13. Brown is 6 for 13 for 13. Al Horford,
he's got 20 points.
14. And Daniel Tice,
Fuck
6'4", 11 for 13.
Fuck Al Horford. We know how this goes.
Hey, that was some of the funny shit we've ever done. The fact that we had random niggas at the sports book at the MGM yelling "fuck Al Horford."
Yeah, and they didn't know where that deep rootedness came from. And yeah, I don't really hate Al. Like,
Me neither.
let me tell you, Al Horford probably will get his jersey retired by the Hawks because he was the start of that. Like we talked about earlier when they played the Celtics, he was a rookie that year. Al went to like 4, maybe 5 All-Stars while he was here. Because him and Joe would make it like almost every year. Because we think about it, the Hawks were winning 50 games.
Yes.
You know, second round team. Just were never taken seriously. And
hey, another question for you while we're on talking about random shit. How bad was that fucking stunner on Vince McMahon?
Oh my goodness.
Do you think they were both just
I'm
that
surprised that they even attempted it because even when you look at Vince McMahon, he clearly has. I mean, look, it comes with time. He's not the same Vince McMahon anymore. Patty Mills 3. It is a 3-point game.
Shock?
No, but
they're gonna cover, buddy.
Oh, Kyrie Irving a steal. Hold on. Kevin Durant dunk. It's a 1-point game, and there's 10:30 left in the fourth quarter.
They about to beat these niggas by 15.
But this is what happens when you have KD and Kyrie. I mean,
yeah.
One day too, and I don't know how you feel about it. One day we need to do something like this where we're almost doing like a vlog of like commentary of a game. I don't know how many people would tune in, but
so hey. So here's the crazy thing, right? I was talking to my sensation, that's her name on the podcast, about that. I was like, I really want us to start doing commentary on games, like while we're watching it with my friends. I just don't know, besides you, I don't know which of like my friends would be down to do it because for one, I've never told you this, but I appreciate your commitment. I have not had this level of commitment from anybody doing shows ever. Because, there's been weeks where you've hit me and I'd be like, I'm kind of traveling and blah, blah. You're like, yo, so like, can you like use your phone? I'm like,
yeah. I like doing it with you, man. No homo. But I enjoy doing this. I think that it's something that we do, and now that there's been enough chemistry even built through doing it so many times, it sets up to where it's kind of part of my schedule, and so that's why I kind of I look forward to it.
Same, man. Like, and I was telling the woman, I'm like, me and Parlay Pete, we were cool in college. Then we got like cooler after college. Then when I'd come home, I'd hit him up. Sometimes we hang out, sometimes we wouldn't. And I'm like, we've gotten so damn close to where, we hang out like once a month at least. We do this pod once a week for 2 hours at least. And then we have the random phone calls where if you don't have anything scheduled and I don't have anything scheduled, that phone call can go for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And I just go, it's just crazy how your friendships just grow and develop, and guys who you meet through your other friends become your friends and all this weird shit. And she was talking about like how cool it was meeting you in Who's, and then like, so she met Josh when we stopped in San Diego, and she was like, it was super cool that he wasn't just talking to you. He would just like talk to me about shit and I'm like, yeah, because my real friends will talk to you without me because they're not worried about me getting mad or you thinking they're trying to fuck them, because we're like real friends.
Well, and we're not, nobody's doing that. And so it's just like, especially we wouldn't do that even with,
we wouldn't do it with
non-girlfriend for the most part. I mean, everybody knows a boundary, even in a situation like that. Certainly with somebody you're with, and obviously now is living with you. Which, how is she doing? Is she? Oh, well, you're not there, right? Right. I don't know what I was about to say.
She's doing all right, man. She's adjusting. She's liking it more than she thought she would. I took her out to some of my
She's got to be hating it without you there right now, though.
Huh?
I said she's got to almost be hating it without you there right now. Because
the
like, even when she goes out, like let's just say she's going grocery shopping, it's just like, look, I just know these people in Albany.
Hey, so here's the thing: the movers came today, so she has a bunch of shit to do. Is keeping her busy, like moving, like packing her, like unpacking shit, and like setting up the house the way she wants it. But oh man, the way the people of Albany look at her, because I mean, you know, she's Hispanic.
Yeah.
Those looks. If I was a
because they're probably like, what are you doing down here?
Exactly. If I was like a super insecure guy.
Hey, by the way, Brooklyn's up.
Oh shit. No shocker. But yeah, like, bro, if I was like a super insecure guy, like the way it was when we were at the bar, I'd be like, oh, this could be risky. I'm not bringing you back here. Because she just like sticks the fuck out. But she's cool. I'm cool. And life is
better now, too. Like I said, when you go to these spots, instead of you know, you're getting on like Snapchat or something and it's like sharecropper shuffle. But now at least you got somebody to laugh with you. Like
exactly.
You know?
And I was joking.
That's up 3.
and I was joking around trying to do the sharecropper shuffle. And I couldn't do it. It's too hard.
It's probably just, you know, it's one of those things, you know, and they'll tell you that too, I'm sure, you know. It's an Albany thing.
Oh, absolutely. Like
they'll be like, it's an Albany thing.
It's slide to the right, slide to the left, right foot, left foot, then turn. Right foot, left foot, then turn. Now flex. Now flex.
Repeat.
And turn to the right. Like, it's just a bunch of stuff to where if he's not telling me what to do, I'm not remembering that shit. It's too many steps. Anyways, we got some more topics here.
Someone might mistake you as a sharecropper if you do it too. So it's maybe a good thing that you don't, you know, you can't even get into it.
Exactly. Hey, I saw this post that said millennials rather choose happiness over going to work. So they'd rather be unemployed and happy than being miserable and employed. And you and I are both millennials, and I resent this remark because I will be a miserable fuck at work every single day before I'm a broke, happy motherfucker. Because I can't be happy broke.
I guess the question is, when it comes to that dollar amount, what are they saying they would rather? The employed and unhappy aspect, what are you making? 15, 10? How much money are you making? Because that's the question. Now, let's say on average, you've got a $45,000 job. You're a single person. $45,000. Let's break it down. What would that even be?
$45,000, no student loan debt.
I just want to break down what's 45,000.
Hey, if you do 48, that's 4,000 a year. I mean 4,000 a month.
Okay, but even if you do 45, that means that you make $937.50 a week on average. Well, hold on, there's 52 weeks. Let me do it that way. Actually, you make $865.
Okay.
If I'm a single person, I think I'm okay with that. I mean, are you able to really do what you want to do necessarily? Maybe not. But at the same time,
you got to save for vacation, but that's okay.
Well, and I think everybody's got social media has really transformed how people view money, because you think everybody's got it based on what they're doing. And what nobody realizes is that stuff is fake. Like, yes, there are people, of course, like when you look at your favorite rapper, sure, they've got the money. They might be in some serious debt, even with the money. And, you know, that is the biggest thing. That's the financial literacy piece of it. I would like to think is, you know, you can make $1 million or you can make $20,000 a year. But if you don't know how to balance your money anyways, you could be just as broke. And so it's just, I don't know. To answer your question, though, I would much rather go to a job and not be happy and be making money than to, because if you don't have any money, how are you paying your bills? So,
at home with your parents.
And then how are you happy?
Hey, look, I can't fuck at my mom's house.
I'm not, well, and more importantly, let's just say that Christian that doesn't need to have sex, and I'm waiting for more marriage, even something like that. I just don't think I want to. First of all, it's making my parents unhappy. Let's start there, because they don't want to see my fucking almost 30-year-old ass in their fucking house.
Hey, but there's some parents who do.
And I guess, that would depend on the relationship you got with your parents. And now, it doesn't mean that my parents or anyone else's parents wouldn't let them. They love you. If they love you, they're going to take care of you, right? Now, they're not going to purpose. They're not just going to take care of you just because you like, nah, I just don't want to go to work. It ain't going to be no shit like that. And so anyone that's an adult should know that they have to work. So there's going to be a slight unhappiness. I would venture and say that 95, and this is, spitballing, but 95% of the people in the world don't do the job that they necessarily thought they were going to do growing up.
Well, not even that. None of us love work, even if we do what we love. Doja Cat wins Grammys, and she came out a couple weeks ago saying she's done with music. She's over it.
And she's made enough to, for the most part, prior to retire. So
right, but even still,
she'll get more money anyways to do other shit. Like they might want her to be on The Voice or American Idol judge. Like, you know what I'm saying? To where she can get paid and she could be a correspondent for E! News. Like there's a lot of stuff. She's opened up. She's already in. She's in
right,
there.
But even still, she's not happy with music, which is what she thought she loved. So she has the fame, she has the fortune, she has all of the stuff that us normal folks think that we want, and she's still not happy. So who the fuck do you think you are that you think you're entitled to happiness? Like, I mean, it sounds bad, but happiness is not this all-encompassing thing. It's a thing that, like, you have to find happiness in the things in which you do in order to fucking survive. Like, every day is not a good day. Every day is not a bad day. You got to find, like, the in-between. You got to find the good stuff in the day. You got to find the happiness in the job. You know what? I don't like this boss, but you know what? I got a good crew of people. Hey, this crew of people suck. My boss sucks, but you know what? I like my direct deposit every 2 weeks, or I like my direct deposit every week. You have to find the positives and stuff because that's life. And I think that what social media does is it paints this picture to people that life is always good, and it's not.
Well, because you see nothing but the positives, and then more importantly, nobody really wants to see the negatives anyways, for what it's worth, because it's just like, this isn't I'm not a therapist, and if you've got friends that you feel comfortable sharing information with, you don't have to put that on social media. You can just go to them directly and be like, man, look, this is kind of what I'm in. What do you think? Things like that. And so it's just a matter of how somebody wants to, mold their situation. And as somebody that employs people, whenever I tell people that are coming to work for me now, jobs that we offer out, when it's the hourly stuff, typically $16, $17 an hour.
That's not bad.
Well, and I'm aware after taxes how much money you're taking home because I cut the check every week, so I get to see it. So I'm aware of kind of like, especially for the people, for instance, that live here that work for us, because I live here, so I know how much it costs to rent, or whatever. So that's why I'm even particular with the people that I hire, because I'm looking for a certain type of person. I'm never looking for, I do want somebody that has kids because I know that they have to work. So I know that they're going to be there. But outside of that, I'm also aware of what type of person can live off of what it is that we can afford to pay. And, a lot of these corporations, they just don't understand it. And I think the biggest thing is that there's just not enough jobs out here that pay the type of money that people can live off. Living is pretty damn expensive.
Well, yeah, minimum wage is no longer a minimum wage.
Right. And that's why, you can get to a fast food restaurant after you're drunk as fuck at 2:45 and, at night, and you're like, man, I don't really feel like going home and necessarily cooking something. I don't have leftovers or whatever, or I'm just not in the mood to eat a ham sandwich. Let me go to McDonald's. And that's why some of these people will be working those jobs and they'll be miserable as fuck. And the line's taking longer because they're back there fucking around because they're just like, I don't give a fuck about this job because they pay me $12 an hour.
Bro, you say, well, minimum wage is still what, $8.25 in the state of Georgia?
Yeah, but I know a lot of the McDonald's and Burger Kings and stuff, whenever I pass them, I'll see, starting at 12, hiring, whatever. And certainly for somebody that's like an adult that's like working there, and I'm talking about when you see like the 50-year-olds and shit. Now, they at least take the job seriously, I've always noticed. It's never, they almost are happy to have a job.
So you've never worked fast food, huh?
No.
So I've worked it. And there is an interesting dynamic within the fast food thing, right? Because you got your managers, like your shift leads and your managers, they care enough because if they're on a good shift, they want to keep a good shift. If they're on a shitty shift, they want to get off that shitty shift and get a good shift, right? Then you got your you got your teenagers. You got your teenagers who give a fuck because they're like, hey, I'm going to be here after graduation. I'm trying to move up and get full time. Then you have your other ones who are there just to collect the check. And then you have your one-offs like me. I'm like, hey, I just needed a job. Like, I'm going to do a good job because
how old were you when you were working at Burger King? You were 16?
Yeah, I was 16 to 18. And then one summer after, while we were in college, I came back and I worked at fucking Taco Bell at the same truck stop. Me in college working at Taco Bell versus me at Burger King, two totally different employees. Like college me, if my shift started at 11, I walked in at like 11:03.
Right.
When I worked at Burger King, if my shift started at 11, I was there like 10:45, like regularly. And I would work late, didn't give a fuck, right?
Right.
So you have like these divisions of people who care, and I recommend getting fast food during the day because when there's the day shift, those are your best workers. Those are people who actually give a fuck. They're the ones that can handle the big rushes. That night shift, awful. And then if you are somewhere where they haven't given up on the graveyard shift because COVID got rid of graveyard shifts and they haven't brought them back, them niggas who work graveyard shift, oh, they're trash and they don't care.
But you know what? It's weird. Even though I know during lunch period, like depending on where you work, and this is why you got to envy Chick-fil-A and their model. You don't typically ever get no nigga shit, like no bullshit, no nothing. Like everybody is pretty much spot on with their job.
Well, Chick-fil-A doesn't really care for niggas.
They don't, but in certain neighborhoods, there's one over here on Glenwood. It's a black. I mean, at the end of the day, even though they done built that area up, like it is as far as I'm concerned.
I was just throwing a little shot at Chick-fil-A because they're anti-LGBTQ plus IA, whatever those other letters are.
Yeah, well, LBGTQ RXTV WXINZ. It's crazy. But it's even funnier. A guy like Jew worked at Chick-fil-A, and I could honestly see Jew just because I know how he is, like kind of professionally.
Well, yeah, no, Jew is charismatic, smiley. He looks like the nigga they would put up there in front, like, hey, we hire niggas.
Well, I feel like he's almost he knows that he's on the clock. So in the time while he's on the clock, even though he might not want to be there, he's so like enthusiastic, but obviously not enthusiastic. Like he really doesn't care, but he's gonna like play the role just because it's fun for him to not even act like himself.
But I also think Jew's militant.
Be like, right this way, sir.
I also think his militance has grown with our age.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't as militant like now as he was 10 years ago when we met him.
Right. Which he was working there. He told me in high school he worked at matter of fact, he didn't just work at Chick-fil-A. He worked at fucking Truett's.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like a signature Chick-fil-A,
Shit, man. We're at an hour 40. Anything else you want to talk about that you actually care about?
I think there's one thing I did want to touch.
Because, I knew, the Will Smith thing, that was going to be forced. And I was like, we could talk about it if we did, but we didn't have to.
Everybody's already.
I know.
Yeah. There was one interesting thing just to get back on the NBA real quick.
Okay.
LeBron James was on the shop, and he came out and basically, now the NBA is going to do an investigation because it's kind of just this openly thought that he put out. And I don't know who knows when he recorded it, but basically him saying, if I could play with somebody in the NBA today, he said it'd be Steph Curry. And it just makes you kind of wonder.
What are they investigating? Tampering?
I guess so. I mean, because that's kind of an open invitation of, when's his deal up? His deal is up like next year.
Yeah, LeBron's deal is up. Deal is up at the end of
up next year, but I think Steph's is too.
I think Steph is up next year too.
And so these guys hang out.
But there's no such thing. No. Steph signed his extension.
When?
He's there
his $50 million a year,
25. Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, that could be an invitation to, hey, if the Lakers are breaking this thing down, I don't mind going to San Francisco.
I can keep my kids down in LA.
It's not far. I could fly back home every day.
Oh no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me see. I'm looking right now. According to Basketball Reference, Steph is. Oh no, he has his extension. Never mind. His extension is until 2025 to 2026.
Okay, so he's there, and they're not trading him. So
hell no, this nigga getting his last year. He getting $60 million.
Oh, and I tell you what, and this is how we can do this. I just wanted to bring that up. I was just curious if you had seen that, but he did say it. So that's just, I don't know. It's a very.
I saw it, but I don't think there's anything that they can investigate because there's no such thing between as tampering between players. It's only organizational thing.
Right.
So even if LeBron is tampering, players can do that.
Okay, and then just kind of rapid fire with two more things. This one, and then we can close on the last one. But this one just popped up.
Okay.
Quote from Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold, and if the Panthers drafted a quarterback at 6.
I retire.
It truly is whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, it's out of my control. I know I'm a good quarterback. I know I can be a good quarterback in this league. I've proven it.
Proven it to who?
And I know there's a team, if something happens, that would want me.
So his agent knows something, but Sam Darnold's not fucking good.
So basically, he's like, yeah, there's a team that's going to want me to hold a clipboard and put on the visor. Because, yeah, there might be a team that wouldn't mind you as a backup for sure. You've got plenty of a starting experience. You're not a good quarterback. When did you ever prove has he played in a playoff game? Has he had a winning season?
No.
So do you know any quarterbacks that haven't had a winning season, along with not having those winning seasons and not making the playoffs? You've won, I don't know, you went to the Pro Bowl or something. Like Justin Herbert went to the Pro Bowl, and he hadn't been to the playoffs either. But, like, we all know it's like, okay, yeah, this guy can fucking sling it. What the fuck is he talking about, man?
I don't know. Listen to this. His record is 17-32.
Okay.
He has 54 touchdowns to 52 interceptions.
Okay.
So his second year, he was 7-6 as a starter, but he got hurt and didn't finish the season. Let's see. He 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions year 1, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions year 2, 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions year 3, 9 touchdowns and 13 interceptions year 4. He's worse than Baker. He hasn't got the 20 touchdowns in the season, and Baker hasn't got the 30 touchdowns. What the fuck are these niggas talking?
If the Falcons could swap him out for Marcus Mariota, I bet they would keep Marcus Mariota. And Marcus Mariota gets hurt, but you know what? Marcus Mariota's won a playoff game too. I mean, obviously there's the Arthur Smith relationship there, but in general, I just don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm a good quarterback and somebody will want me. As if, there aren't about 5 or 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 50 picks every year, sometimes in the first 32 picks. I mean, what is he fucking talking about, man?
You know what? I don't know. I guess somebody like, because Colin Cowherd still believes in him too. So maybe there's another GM out there who believes in him. Maybe Seattle does because they got Drew Lock.
Kyrie Irving for 3. Brooklyn up 5, 2:40 left. I think they're going to cover for me, but the issue is the Bulls aren't going to cover. But
I'm looking at Mariota right now, and his best season he was 26-9.
Didn't he go to a Pro Bowl?
Let's see, has he made any Pro Bowl?
Like an alternate or something, but I'm almost certain he did a Pro Bowl once. Kyrie and KD are fucking cooking these guys. I mean, I get it. Oh, what the fuck?
What happened?
KD just like pushed off, and they call offensive foul, and it was kind of a blatant push off, but it looked like because he just kept getting smacked in his arm. But here, and then we can close this thing out with this.
I'm not seeing any Pro Bowls for Mariota, but still, he made the playoffs.
Yeah, he won a game. But
beat Andrew Luck, didn't he?
Huh?
Did he beat Andrew Luck?
He beat Alex Smith. He's the reason they switched to Pat Mahomes.
Oh yeah, no, he beat Alex Smith. That's right.
And funny enough, fun story about that. Me and Josh, we were outside the Coliseum getting ready for Falcons Rams wild card. We were at a bar because Josh came with me to that game, the Falcons Rams.
I remember that game.
Yeah, the year before it was the first year of the Rams. The Nets are up 8 with the minute.
How are you going to fucking cover, man?
I cannot believe they're about to cover. Well, they just called a foul on Seth, but it's Obi Toppin. I don't think Obi Toppin's a great free throw shooter. Nonetheless, they'll probably still cover. They'll probably cover. But either way, the final topic on this rapid fire before we close out.
Okay.
Because we didn't talk about it. Braves, Bravos. Season begins tomorrow for baseball, man. And, of course, they're going to be unveiling the rings. They're going to raise the pennant.
Those gold-plated jerseys.
Well, right. And, yeah, I know, right? Golly, it's kind of crazy. But I'm strongly considering – I'm about 70-30 on going to the game just because I got to get my daughter from daycare, and her mom won't get to me until about 6. So I have to, figure that aspect of it out. But I do want to go, and I do believe I'm going to go, which is why I would ask if you wanted to record tonight. But, yeah, man, just give me a little bit of your outlook on what you think the Braves are going to be able to do. Do you see a repeat potentially in the making?
I don't see a repeat just because arms that go deep into October don't last multiple years.
I'm sorry. Nets up 10 with a minute left. Just put
yeah, arms usually don't last back-to-back years. So the trade deadline will determine whether or not the Braves can repeat. I think we'll have a good, solid season because we're back to playing Braves baseball. We're a good fucking.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This team, especially once they get Acuna back, I think they're just as talented, if not more talented. Because you added Kenley Jansen, who was the Dodgers closer, best closer. Some could argue best closer in baseball. Steph Curry just got an and-1. They're up 12 with 36 seconds, but unbelievable. I mean, you could have got them for like plus 400 at halftime, down 8-17. They're about to win by – you said it too. You're like, they're going to win by double digits. They are literally –
it's the Knicks.
I know it's the Knicks, but it's just – I mean, God, what shitty basketball is this?
Bro, I'm looking at this box. Hey, listen to this box score real quick. The Braves are going to be fine. We're running a top-notch – we're a top-notch team. I'm just worried about the arms giving out late. But listen to this box score for the Knicks. 29, 38, 15, 15. The Nets, 25, 25, 22, 35. They're just chilling.
They're chilling, and I mean, granted, Katie's got a triple-double.
Yeah, damn.
Katie's got a triple-double.
And 2 blocks.
And Justice was talking about this man not being a top defensive player. And like I said, don't be confused just because the Knicks aren't good at defense.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, not the Knicks, the Nets aren't good on defense. The Knicks are under 100 points right now at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I love Justice, but sometimes he has takes that were great 4 years ago. Like KD used to not play defense. When he went to Golden State, he became a much better defender because he became their five,
Right.
and he became a not shot blocker, but he became a really good rim protector.
Oh man, I'm gonna get butt fucked here on my parlay. All I needed was the Clippers by 4 in the first half because the Suns are sitting everybody. But I took the Bulls plus 8.5 because Levine was playing, and I'm like, well, there's no way the Celtics steam them. And what happened? The Celtics
Bro,
are
Celtics, bro,
steaming.
you
I
you
know,
should have made them.
but my goodness, I mean, they got the hell beat out of them yesterday by the Bucks, but there's just no way. Levine didn't play yesterday, so like.
But listen to this. Like, listen to the Celtics. The Celtics right here. They last game they beat Washington by fucking 42.
Bad. Wizards were really bad though.
Well, they beat the Pacers by 5. They lost to Miami and Toronto.
Yeah, let's not forget the game is in Chicago.
True. They beat Minnesota by 20, by 22. They beat the Jazz by fucking 28. They beat OKC by 9. They beat Denver by 20. They beat Sacramento by fucking 30, 29. They beat Golden State by more than I want to do math for, almost 30. If you're gonna bet Celtics, bro, you either gotta you gotta just bet. You gotta bet them to cover.
I just thought the 8.5 was really high with all their guys playing. Caruso. I mean, I know Ball is not playing, but everybody. But you know what? The Bulls are going to be an automatic fade. And I know next week we'll get to talk even more in depth about the playoffs, but because the playoff picture will be set by next Wednesday or Thursday, because the playing games are like Monday and Tuesday, and then the next one's like it probably will be Thursday or something. So we'll know basically the playoff picture, but they're a one and done team, just like I believe. Utah, I think them and Utah are both out in the first round. Like, I've seen enough this season to look at these teams and be like, oh, no. And Donovan Mitchell, we talked about him a little earlier, how you said with the
He's
Lakers.
Out of there.
Man, at this point, you got to – would you consider cleaning house with Utah?
No.
Because
if I'm Utah, I'm not.
You got to kind of clean house.
If Donovan's not begging me to clean house, I'm not. I'm doing whatever I can to keep Donovan Mitchell, but the reason why I wouldn't just go clean house, because second round of playoffs is a win every year for Utah. They are not a championship organization. They don't have championship aspirations.
Last year, they played the Clippers without Kawhi.
Did you ever think they were going to win a championship?
No, but I thought that they could have made it to the West Finals. As well as they were playing last year, I thought they could make it to the West Finals.
Well, yeah, no. They've disappointed, but
they showed the potential in the bubble against Denver, because remember that went 7 and they lost basically on a last-second shot in Game 7, and they were up 3-1 on Denver. Denver went to the West Finals that year. So, like, I just think that the West Finals was their ceiling to begin with. They were never going to be the best team in the league. But I think it's been disappointing. They lost in 6 to the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard last year. You lost in the first round to Denver the year before in the bubble, and now this year you're setting yourself up to probably play Denver again. I think if it's a first-round exit, Quinn Snyder is gone. The Lakers probably will hire him, because I can't just think of anyone else that they'll hire. And then you just got to consider cleaning house, man. The team had its run.
Yo,
you can retool it and get other pieces, but you can get something for Mitch. You could get something for Rudy. And you just got to –
if TLOU gets the Clippers to 500, they're 39-40 right now. He should be coach of the year, even though he won't get it.
What about Memphis' coach? I feel like he needs to be coach of the year.
Yeah, it's not a bad argument either.
They're like 20-3 without Ja Morant, and
it's kind of
that is unfathomable. Like, it's kind of hard to believe.
And I want to know how hurt Ja is.
He'll be back for the playoffs.
Well, I know that much, but like,
because they wanted icebox jewelry the other day here.
Yeah, bro, they're just resting him because they don't want him to be Derrick Rose. But hey, bro, we're at 2 hours. It's been good.
It has been. You enjoy Kansas City. Let me know how that is. And, yeah, we'll reconvene this.
All right, sounds good. I'll be in the city on Sunday when I get back. I'll hit you up.
All right, let's do it.
Yep.